I wasn't. Okay. So waves 2 and 4 have to differ from each other. So here wave 2 retraced all the way to the 0.5 fib level, and wave 4 just slightly higher, 0.382. So this is the severity part, right? So severity wise, relatively similar, but still slightly different. Intricacy and construction are slightly more advanced, so I'll just go through them later. The next is the price. So wave 2 retraced about 18%. Wave 4, 20. Again, relatively similar. There are some similarities here which begin to cast doubt on this being the correct formation, but then we use a time zone, a fib time zone. So now I'll clean the chart a bit. So here is wave 1 and wave 2. Now you can see that wave 2 was actually longer than wave 1. When this happens, this is often a complex correction, but we'll get to that later. Now, on the other hand, wave 3, like this is wave 4 was tiny compared to wave 3. It's not even a third of it, right? So this gives us our first major difference between waves 2 and 4, which makes it slightly more likely to be the correct count. So now I'll copy this and I'll remove everything else. So one of the ways to differentiate and correction is which was the word I forgot. Alternation, yeah, is alternation between waves 2 and 4. So if waves 2 and 4 are exactly identical to each other, then your count is probably not correct. You probably miscounted it. It's like either a wave of a larger or smaller degree, maybe a complex correction, but it's probably not the proper impulse, like you haven't counted the waves the way you should. Now, okay, this is easier. I guess I was supposed to lead with this one. So, there are three main rules of edit waves theory. Wave 2 cannot go below the beginning of wave 1. I'll just go through them one by one because, yeah. So let's do the same one we had before. So in this case, as we saw previously, wave 2 was right at the 0.5 fib level of wave 1, so it did not go below the bottom of wave 1. Rule number 2. Wave 3 cannot be the shortest. It's not actually the longest. Now, wave 3 is most often the longest one, and actually it often gets extended. So what you can do is you can usually draw another 5-wave formation inside wave 3. I'm not sure if this is the correct one, but without like going deeper into it, it kind of looks like it, so I'll just go with it for now. But the thing is, subwave formations have to follow the same rules, right? Because if one of the subwaves is wrong, then your entire count is wrong. So even in the green one right here, wave 2 cannot go below the beginning of wave 1. Wave 3 cannot be the shortest, which it isn't. And the fifth one is that, third one, sorry. Wave 4 cannot overlap in the. This is the third one we later used to place stop loss. I feel it's extremely important in placing stop losses. So in this case, neither of the rules are broken, right? So the orange wave count would be invalidated right here. Now, say that you were trading this and the price is about here, and you have this as a potential 5-wave formation, but wave 4 has not ended yet. So here would be a good place to place a stop loss. Here, actually, to be more precise, because if the price were to go through here, then your wave count would be incorrect. So that's your invalidation level. It's good to place a stop loss there. I mean, yeah, you have to like check the risk and reward and other signs, but just for the sake of the argument, wave 4 cannot go below the beginning of wave 1. For the green count, invalidation would be right here. Now, whenever I use stop losses based on Elliott wave theory, I like to use the first rule more than I do the third one, because wave 4s are often very shallow, so here and here, while wave 2s aren't. So even if you cut the price at its exact lowest, and then you have the stop right below here, that would still be what, like 19% below, so like that's a pretty big loss. But if it's here, oof, no, actually it's even higher. So in that case, yeah, that would work better. I think this is a log, no, it's not. Okay, so because of these rules, and because of the fact that all the subwaves have to follow the same rules, one of the easiest way I found to differentiate between corrective and impulsive structures is overlap. Now, again, this happens because of rules 1 and rules 3. So if you had, again, say formation right here, what I mean by overlap is that when the price makes new highs, it doesn't return to them. Now, there is some subjectivity to this rule, but I found that it works relatively good. So price made a new high right here. It broke out and then never returned. Like it will return eventually. Like in this case, it returned there, so in December. But or even here, yeah, you can consider this like a return. But as long as the formation is intact, so we had this formation, it does not return, right? Same with here. New high does not return. Now here, it did return, right? And coincidentally, not coincidentally actually, like this is the end of this particular pattern, right? So we had five ways up. Once the price broke the previous high, that's usually the end of the correction of the impulse. And here we had this type of APC down, right? Now, where are we here? You can find similar correction. You can find the same movements in different time frames, right? So now we're using the 2-hour again. this. I actually have this as the beginning of wave 1. Price goes, makes new highs, does not return, does not return. Now, these matter, even if this wick low were to just breach it, like the high here is 9442, if the low here was 9441, that would have to be considered a breach of this stop. Like, it doesn't matter if it's actually just $1 or $2 or whatever, it has to be considered a breach. Like, if you're doing elite wave, you have to like adhere to the rules at all times. You can't just like switch them just now again. Here, this is the end of the impulse. Right here, this like huge black candle, end of the impulse. I'll remove them just a second. Now, in the case of, let's just pick a random coin. So I'll do BNB. So again, probably an impulse. So if I were to count this, I do it like this. So here you have one, either here or here. Like, you have to count the subways to be precise, and that's very important, but I'm not gonna do it right now because like it's not more complicated, but I'm just trying to show the concept. So again, probable impulse, high is broken, doesn't get touched again, same here. But all of these subwaves have to adhere to the same rules, right? So that would also be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when I say adhere to the same rules, I also mean like the alternation, for example. Now, again, you have wave 2 and 4 here, right? So let's do the red one first. Wave 2 retraced all the way to the 0.5. I'll hide this for just a second. And wave 4 retraced higher, lower, I mean, to the maybe 0.68, kind of, so between. Again, not like a lot of difference between waves 2 and 4, but it's still decent. Now, then you have the price. That's a 3%. And this is a 4.6. Like, it doesn't seem much, but it's still more than 50% because both of these are small. Wait, I think I copied them. Okay, yeah, cool. So we have price alternation. We have somewhat of a severity alternation. We definitely have time alternation. Like, that's slightly more than 382. That's nearly 2, so I think that's what 1 point, yeah, that's even more, so that's nearly 2. We also have time alternation, and we might have construction. Should I go there now? Wait. Okay, let's do that. So, what construction means? So basically there are two types of corrections. I made the example here, so I'll just find it and explain it, and I'll go back to BNB. Where was it? Where was it? Here. So it's right here. Cool. So basically, two types of corrections. Okay, there are actually 5 types of corrections, but we're just gonna go through the 2 main ones here. Wait, someone's writing in the group. Okay. Flat corrections, zigzag corrections. Now, the main difference is the wave count, specifically the count in the first portion of the wave count. So flat corrections have a 3-3-5 count, zigzags have a 5-3 count, 5. So the only difference is this 5 and this 3, right? So this is a flat right here. We have A, B, and C. Should I think this goes from here, right? So the thing with flat corrections is they retrace 90 to 138% of wave A. You can even do 85, but flat corrections go very close to the starting point. See, this one almost did 9. So if a flat correction began here, then you would expect the B wave to come very close to it. Like there are versions of it like an expanded flat in which the price would go here and here. Now these are the trickiest because many people when they see a dump here, they would place a stop loss right here, which I don't recommend doing because this can be a flat correction, but and the B wave can somehow take you out if it goes here. So what I mean by a 3-3-5 here is that the A wave, so this is the first 3, is comprised of 3 waves in itself, right? So we have an A, B, C. I mean, since I started the video with this, I'm gonna do smaller wave counts in red, larger ones in orange, and then the biggest one in black. Like if I change them, I'll tell you. So we have 1, 2, 3 to complete an A. An A. So whenever you have a 1, 2, 3 down to complete the A wave, you will expect a long B wave, which retraces probably 90%, 85%, or can even be an expanded flat correction. So keep in mind, I think some people don't know this, so I'll just point it out. In expanded flats, B wave goes above the top of the A wave. So if you see something like this, it's not necessarily incorrect, or even this. But if you see that, then the A wave needs to have 3 waves, not 5. Now, if you're thinking that this might possibly be a 5-wave formation, like this, then no, because wave 4 goes way into the territory of wave 1, so that's like a definitely not. Let me see if I can find an expanded flat really quickly. I probably can't, but because they're rarer than normal flats. No. I think this can be an expanded flat actually, even though the C wave is extremely big. So it can look like this. I'm not sure. I have to check the subwave count to see if this is an actual expanded flat, but it would make sense to be because you have 3 waves here, right? So you have the first portion correct. Flats are 3, 3, 5, so are expanded flats. So if you have an A with 3 subwaves, this can possibly be a flat. But the flat cannot go like a lot higher. So if you have a flat here, you could use the 27, I guess. If it goes much higher than the 1.27, it's probably incorrect. And this is not an expanded flat. But you can make a lot of money if you can properly identify an expanded flat, because the C wave will be extremely large after the B wave is completed. So you can get a very good short position or long if this is an upwards correction, and then make profit all the way down to the C wave. No, where was that? Okay. this. Fine. Now where was my zigzag? So zigzags are 535. I think this is a zigzag, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll check. Yes, that is probably a zigzag. Now, you have this correction here, right? A, B, C. As you can see, the A wave is comprised of 5 waves instead of 3, right? So this can probably be a zigzag. It's July 9. I want to go to a lower time frame just to check if the subwave count is correct, even though I'm pretty sure it is. Now, keep in mind the 3 Elliott waves rules from prior, right? So, first of all, even though this is the correction, the A wave is an impulse, right? Because the A wave is comprised of 5 waves, so A is an impulse. Now, when this is a correction, the B wave will be much shorter. It will usually go all the way to the 0.618, maybe sometimes higher, but it doesn't come close to the 9. Went a little higher. It's still below the 0.786, right? So whenever you have a B wave which fails to even come close to the top of the A wave, it's probably a zigzag instead of being a flat. So you have 5 waves down. Keep in mind the rules, right? The bottom of, now, wave 2 should not go beyond the bottom of wave 1. Now, I like these for stop loss placements, since like, if you suspect that this is the beginning of a correction and you're looking somewhere to short, like, it's very easy to place a stop loss right here because, I mean, it's very close. And if the price were to go above it, it would invalidate this particular wave count. That's not to say that the price, if it were to break here, then it would just continue going up, but this particular count would be invalid. Again, second one, wave 4 cannot touch wave, cannot go into the territory of wave 1, which it doesn't here, it respects it pretty well. Like as you can see, wave 1 has a bottom of 243, while this has a high of 242, so it doesn't, that's valid. And wave 3 is not the shortest. If you're measuring shortness, so to speak, just use a fib retracement, only keep the 0 and the 1. It is longer than 1 and it is much longer than 5, so that's the correct formation. Nice. So this is a zigzag because, just to recap, in flats, wave A is, okay, see guys, just so for people who are not in the premium channel, this is how it works. We got a long with a buy range, the sell, the leverage, and the stop losses. So we get these several times a day. Okay, so wave A is comprised of 5 instead of 3 waves. 5 waves. Wave B, Okay, this at most is a bit subjective. Now, I've seen some people say 127. I don't think there's like an exact consensus, but if it goes much higher, then your count is probably wrong. Okay. Big. Oh shit, my bad. Sorry. Yeah, plus are 3 waves, not 5 waves. My bad. So yeah, that's not relevant. Again, just going back to the premium group. So guys, hopefully Bitcoin goes up, hits all our targets here. You see that's a very close stop loss. That's like less than 1% loss. So join the premium group, guys. In zigzags, wave A is comprised of set of 3. Wave B retraces 0.618. Let me do this 0.5. Now, wave Bs can retrace only to the 0.382 level, but that doesn't always occur. That's usually, if a wave retraces only to the 0.382 fib level, then it's probably an impulse. I would say most likely wave 4, but it can, like, it still wouldn't invalidate the rules if it retraced only 0.382 instead of 0.5 or 0.618. Now, let's talk about how to find targets for. Let's do corrections first. So, say that you're here, right? You have correctly identified this as a possible APC. You outlined 5 subways which follow all the impulse rules, so you're pretty sure on your count, like you're feeling good, you have the correct count. And so the price is retracing here. Now, B waves are comprised of other ABCs. So you have an A, B, C right here. Now, waves. Now you can use the length of wave A to predict wave C. Now, I made a mistake. Colors. If I'm using an orange fib, that means it's for the orange lines, orange waves. Now, we have the length of wave A here. And we predict it here. So you see it's nowhere close. What I like to do is find fib confluence, right? So if I don't know this top, right? So let's say that we're somewhere here. I think we've completed the B wave, and I want to know where the C wave will end. My first 2 targets are 244 and 246. So basically, I would try to sell anywhere near here. Now, wave A was relatively short. It's a 3-wave up, came down to wave B. I'm trying to project the length of wave A to the bottom of wave B, but I can't really, it doesn't, I want to find confluence, so I want this fib to give me something similar to the other fib. So now we use the 1.61, and it's much closer actually, and it was the exact top almost. Now here, like, truthfully, I would have probably tried to sell around here. This would have been my main target because there is some confluence, right? You have the 1.61 of the red wave A. Oh, it actually goes lower. So you would have picked the exact top. 1.61 of wave A and the 0.786 of the previous one. Now let's try and do the same thing. Keep in mind these ratios. for the bottom of the C here, right? So now let's say that we made the trade perfectly, we sold above here. Now we want to know where to enter, right? We've shorted somewhere here. What we do is we use the length of wave A. Now again, this is the orange one, right? Keep in mind the orange fib. I will just remove them for a second just to make it clearer. And we project that to B. That is step one. The other step is finding, again, fib confluence. So here, as you can probably see, we have an impulse, right? No, it's not an impulse because C wave 2, so that's a correction. This broke the rule, my bad. It's probably something like this. A very, very short wave 2, a longer wave 4, so there is alternation between them. No overlap again here. And here when you have overlap, then the move ends. So it is not the shortest. So yeah, you have the rules. Now, what I would be trying to do is, like I said, find confluence. We take this entire impulse here, 618, 786. Now 5 doesn't really work. 618 gives, so in this case, the 0.618 fib level of the entire previous upward move coincides with the 1-1 level of A. So I would have actually tried to buy here. It's not the exact bottom, but it's still like relatively close. Now, some people use the 1.27, but I don't like to use it that much. I think here it would have worked better, and it's close. So yeah, this could also be a way. Or less often. So, where are the flat? Okay, let me clean the chart and just summarize them really quickly. Okay, so to find tops, to find endings of structures, fib confluence basically use a fib retracement on the previous move. Fib, now I'm going to do this for corrections first, so I will just use A, B, and C. Fib projection of wave A. I said 1.27 earlier, but yeah, that occurs less often. So it's basically this. Now let's go to our flat example, right? I think it was, I think this was our flat, or no? Where was our flat? Maybe a higher time frame. No, I think this was it. It was this. Oh yeah, so a higher time frame. Cool. This was our flat. Now here, basically, you would try to find this. Now keep in mind this is probably an impulse. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look how different waves 2 and 4 are, right? So like this gives you more confidence that this is the correct count. Now in this case, wave 3 is extended, so you can probably draw another 5, something like this. make them blue. I'm not sure if this is the correct count, like I have to look at the subwaves more closely, use lower time frames, fibs, everything, but this is what it looks like. So the first one, it might be this one. Again, no overlap. So say you're here, you've correctly predicted this, you found the B top, now you want to find the bottom of C. 0.5 is the 214. Now you're doing the second thing I said, right? So you did the fib retracement on the previous move. Now you don't know where C will be, so you have like several fibs open, right? You have the 0.618 here, the 0.5 here. So what you're doing is work pretty well, right? So you project the length of wave A to the top of wave B, and it gives you a target which is extremely similar to the 0.5 fib level of the entire previous move. Now, the price barely missed this, right? So if you've been in the group, like, you know that I'm a very big advocate of ladder ordering. So if your target is 213 and 214, you do not set orders just here, right? You have to set orders all the way from, let's say, you can even go from 220 to 28 or something, as long as your average is the same. Maybe closer would be from 218 to from 218 to 210, something like that, as long as your average is the target. So if your target is 214, you put several orders in that close vicinity of 214 with the aim of like getting in the trade. You do not want to try and pick the exact bottom and top, because very, very often you will miss the trade by a few ticks and you'll be very angry. So if your target is 214, it doesn't matter if you enter that 217, 218, 216. Leave a lot of orders, even leave orders below, because this can easily wick down. You will get several of them. Now, your entry will not be as optimal as it would have been if you just had placed one order at the exact place where you believe the low would be, but it's much higher risk. I would rather get in a trade with not the best possible entry I can find than just miss the trade completely. Okay, let me see again. Delete this. Now, you can kind of do the same thing with impulses, but you don't project them. So the way to do it with impulses, say that this is an impulse, I'm not sure it is. Kind of looks weird, but for the sake of the argument. Wave 3, is it the shortest? Now you have no overlap, so it's fine. 2 doesn't go below 1. 3 is not the shortest. Okay, it can be an impulse. Now use a fib on wave 1, the entire wave 1, right? And then you project 222, 261. I like 322. Why aren't they using it? 322, 361, and 421, 461. Now, this area right here, actually I should do another one. 61. No. This area right here, between the 221 and 261, is usually a target for the top of wave 3, but in this case it was exactly 261 was the target of wave 5. So when using impulses, not when So instead of projecting fib retracement levels, extend them. So you draw a fib here, and then the 221 to 261 area is often X as the target for wave 5. If not, it can be, if wave 3 extends, which it did not in this case, then wave 3 can end here, and then wave 5 can end at 3 to 1 between 3, 6, 1. If wave 3 extends a lot and goes all the way up to here, then wave 5 can go 421, 461. So basically it's these three levels. Now, a lot of people use the 161 for wave 3, but I don't know, I don't think that happens in crypto a lot. It's probably more of a stock thing. Let's find another impulse where you can probably, so that's a huge impulse right here. Yeah. That's probably, now overlap 3. Now, if you're looking at the subwave count here, this is probably a leading diagonal. I will cover them in some other course, but you can see that there is overlap here. But if it has the shape of the a wedge, and there is a certain subwave count, this can also work, but again, another topic. I'll eventually cover it, but not right now. I think we're running low out of time. Okay, again, we have a very big wave 1. Wave 5 was shortest, it barely reached the 2.52, right? 2.21, I mean. Super short wave 5. In this case, maybe 161 would have worked. Actually, yeah, cool, so you can use 161. The top of wave 3. Again, when projecting impulses, and I also use the 2.21 and 1.21 to create a range, but if you want to simplify it, just this, right? Now, 3 and 4 don't usually get hit, but I mean, we often see huge extensions, so yeah, they can get hit. Now, again, like I said, impulses create other impulses, right? So that's probably a big 1, 2. I'll finish this later, just a second. Now, this is probably a larger wave 1, right? And here you have a correction. But I'm not sure if we covered this, but yeah, this is a zigzag. So that's I'm not sure if this was the exact one I was taking an example in, but it's a zigzag. You have 1. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. It's a zigzag. Now, again, not sure if this is the correct count, but I would say this is a very, very extended wave 3. And then this can be probably a short wave 4. Not entirely sure, but it can possibly be that. Now, this went slightly above the 4.61, like when, I think it's more likely this was maybe 3 again, and this was 5. But if you're doing this, like my initial target would have been right here, and my second target right here, or even this one. So like you wouldn't have picked the exact top, but you know what to look for. And even the levels which don't actually act as the top offers some type of resistance usually. So like the price reached the 1.61 here, decreased considerably. did not react to the 2.6. And actually see the 3.61 was the, I'll remove the 2 ones because I just think they're 4.21, 2.21, 3.21. Okay, yeah. So 3.61 acted as the exact top. Now, if you're counting the subwaves, maybe you could have like figured that out exactly. Maybe you would have sold here. It's still a decent profit. But yeah, so 161, 261, 361, and 461. From my experience, I find that projecting fib retracement levels works much better in a correction than in an impulse, because impulses sometimes extend a lot and they can just blow right through your targets, whether they're up or down. Okay. Again, if we had some fib confluence here, it would have been better, but there's like no preceding move because this is almost like a new high, so you can't really do that. Okay, so one more thing which I'm gonna cover shortly. Like I will do another one on Elliott Wave later, or more advanced, like a webinar. Okay, no, I just won't cover that. Never mind. Let's do one final example. Pick like an entirely different coin, just for like fun a bit. I know what you like, Bitcoins. Let's do Algo. Now, I'm not sure what this is exactly. My first reaction would be this. Not reaction, but my actually this is cleaner. Do I have a chart here? No, I don't. Now, whenever you're trying to outline an Elliott wave count, just the first thing you should do is draw what immediately stands out, right? So I'm not sure what this is, but I am pretty sure that this is a down impulse. Now, this makes it more likely to be an ABC because it follows an impulse, right? Again, rules are the same, nothing gets broken. Wave 3 extends, you can even do 5 more here. Like this. Now, let's use fibs. Again, black one. So wave 3 was very close to the 161 level. So my target would have been 0.35. It actually went to 0.32. Again, you can't predict the exact ones, but sure. Now we might have some confluence here because as you can see, we have another subwave count. And it gives us this, not like perfect confluence, but still. It's different with impulses because it's obviously harder to track impulses because they can extend a lot. But again, if I was trading this and say I picked a short here, I managed to pick the exact top of wave 2, my target would have been here between the 161 of the larger degree wave 1 in black and the 1.61 of the smaller degreed waves which are in red. Again, I would not have picked the exact bottom, but I don't really think you should ever aim to pick the exact bottom. Like, you know, if there's a move with 52% decrease, honestly, I'd be happy if I got like 40% and I was out. Like, I don't really try and pick the exact tops and bottoms. If I can identify a large move in one or the other direction, I would wait for some confirmation first then enter halfway through it and leave before the bottom. Like, I know I don't usually try and pick tops and bottoms. So I think this kind of covers the basics. What I'll try to do next time is other tips on B waves because they're triangles. One-two waves are extremely important, and if you can properly identify them, you can make a lot of money. And channeling techniques, because corrections are okay. This I should have wrote this. Oh no, I'll do it in the next time. Okay, so I think we're running close to an hour. So right now I will take questions, but just in the premium groups. I'll write in the premium group. So guys, if you and I will see if someone had something which I have to clarify. Okay, so I just saw that Mohammed asked any rules for ABC corrections. Well, the subwaves in an ABC correction have to follow Elliott wave rules. So, like I said, let's do a zigzag, right? So, zigzag ABC corrections have a 5-3-5 wave count, right? Let me just try and find the zigzag here real quick. That's probably a flat. Yeah, that's a flat. I don't want to use the same example over and over. I'll just try to find one here. Give me a zigzag. Okay, this can possibly be a zigzag. I'm not entirely sure, but say for the sake of argument that it is a zigzag. So and then you have the B wave. So you'd have it something like this. Again, not sure if this is the correct count, but just in case it is, it's very weird. It has a truncated C wave, so it's probably not. But the subwaves of an ABC correction have to follow the basic impulse rules. So if wave A, say that this is an A for the sake of an argument. Wave A has to follow the basic, impulse rules, and so does wave C. So wave C is always, let's write them down, A. Wave C is always an impulse. So wave C is probably the most important one, because not that it's easier to detect, but it's always an impulse. And if it's an impulse, it is created by 5 subways, right? Which make an impulse. So those subways have to follow the basic Elliott wave rules, meaning wave 2 cannot go below the bottom of wave 1, wave 3 cannot be the shortest one, and wave 4 cannot overlap with wave 1. So while ABC corrections do not have rules in itself, besides the subwave count, their subways have to follow the basic impulse rules. Also, actually, there could be one rule. It depends if it's a flat or a zigzag. Flats have to retrace 90% of wave A. Zigzags don't. So if you measured this as an ABC down, right, which is a part of a larger ABC, so like this is probably not the correct count, I'm just using it to make an example. This is wrong because the top of wave B was about 78% of wave A, and this has to go to about 90 if it's a flat. Now, the same thing, if you had 5 waves down here, now say that you're counting 5 waves down, and then this is an ABC here, right? Which actually it's probably an ABC. So this would be the smaller ABC, which does which completes the B wave. Now, this cannot be correct because the top of the B wave is much higher than the beginning of the A wave. And if this is a zigzag, meaning that wave A is comprised of 5 subwaves, this cannot happen. It would have to end somewhere here. So in this case, either your subwave count is incorrect, which in this case, I think it would be likely. That's probably an ABC down. So this is a flat instead of a zigzag. And then you have the C wave. Then your count is wrong. So basically, for ABC rules, you have to learn to differentiate between flats and zigzags. If wave A is comprised of 5 subwaves, then wave B cannot retrace a lot, while the opposite happens in flats. But the main thing is that the subwaves, which create waves A and C, have to follow the rules of ABC corrections. So once we do a more advanced edit wave webinar, like even this C wave has to be created by an impulse, so like this. Now, in this case, this is probably not the correct count. I would have it like this, with an extended third wave. I'll do it in blue. But then even these, the smaller ones, so wave 3 here, would have to be created by another impulse. So if you're extending wave 3, then you definitely have to be able to outline another impulse inside it. And all of these have to adhere to the rules, right? So the blue one, 3 cannot be the shortest, which it's not. 4 and 1 cannot overlap. 2 cannot go below the beginning of 0. So this works. But also you need alternation between 2 and 4. The same occurs with the yellow ones, right? 2 cannot go below the beginning of 1, 4 cannot touch 1, 3 cannot be the shortest. So the rules for corrections are mainly the same as the rules for impulses, because impulses create waves A sometimes and wave C of a correction always. Let's just go to the chat. Also, yeah, by 335 I mean that, so 335 means 3, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this, probably goes lower. I think it's more likely that it would be this, but overlaps here. I don't know, something like that. So 335 is the subwave count. 335 is flat, 535 is zigzag. You don't. So Mohammed, that's the main issue with edit waves. After you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse, you have to begin looking at the subwave count. So let's find an impulse here. That's probably an impulse. Now, once this begins, you count the subwaves. So here you have 3. Once you clearly have 3 here, then you know it's a flat. So you immediately, once this begin moving up, you immediately have this, right? So once the 5 wave impulse is done, you don't really know what comes, but you have to look at the lower time frames closely. As the formation develops, you might be able to determine which it is. I'll just go to my actual Bitcoin chart. So this is what did I hide everything? Oh, I deleted it. No. So yeah, if I was looking at something like this, if something else develops, and like I'll try and determine it, but you don't know the exact wave counts until they actually develop. You're just guessing which is the correct one. Once you see 3 or 5 develop, then you can make a more educated guess on which will come next, but you don't at once. Okay, so any other questions? Okay, I guess no. Okay, guys, so thanks a lot for being here. I will send you the link for the next webinar next week. And also, if you have a topic which you want me to cover, please write in the group and I'll be sure to take note of it. Okay, thanks a lot, guys.